minutes now. 2 minutes. Good Lord.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, guys. You think we're professionals or something?
Yeah. This isn't a nationally syndicated talk show. It's an
Yeah.
international broadcast run by literally one guy. Cut me some
Yep.
slack. Oh, welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 331, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek if you couldn't tell from the decor. All super chats are around in the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Oh yeah, growing, ever growing, and
Yes.
and good set of guys, honestly.
This is not the WAN show where they are an hour late, right? Like,
Yeah, okay,
and
come on.
They have a producer.
Yeah.
Like, they have no excuse. It's gonna be a good show. We've got China's homegrown domestic CPU. Clocking some pretty impressive benchmarks, honestly, for how early it is in the x86 space. We've got some absurd SD card sizes, and a little bit of Apple talk on the Vision Pro, and kind of what we all expected of kind of a nosedive, but maybe not so quickly. Anyway, that and I'm sure a lot more. I'll also probably sneak one more in there that I think I need to talk about. I didn't put it in the notes, but we'll get to that one when we get to it.
Okay.
Anyway, Steve, how you doing today?
I'm actually doing really great.
Good.
Yeah, I kind of came back from a small short vacation. Went and visited my sister in Arizona. Nice and sunny out there. Got lots of sun, lots of heat. Good stuff.
Nice.
The beer there was terrible. I'm sorry, anybody that may live in Arizona, but the beer there was terrible.
Yeah.
Could not find a good beer to save my life. I'm sorry. I went to a couple tap houses. I went to Santan Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I mean, there might have been like a 3.5, 3.75 scale of good beer.
Yeah.
But nothing there wowed me. I'm thinking it's got to be the water over there. Maybe it's just the water is just not good quality water in Arizona.
It has a lot to do with the quality of your beer. It really does.
Yeah. It's probably got a lot of rattlesnake vomit in the water or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it did not taste good.
You know, I haven't spent much time in Arizona, so I can't really like without a doubt say, but I've also had quite a few beers from Arizona. No winners come to mind.
No. Yeah, there has the winner. This is Phoenix area, so it should be the hub of where a lot of good beers should be, I would think.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to pan out, so.
Yeah.
But outside that, the trip was really fun.
Good. Awesome. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this show started the best way we know how. I've got a couple beers that I'm really excited about, but what did you bring for the show this time?
So I have one that I'm particularly excited about. I got this one mainly because of the name. It's a hazy IPA, or it says juicy IPA, but it's a Rick and Morty reference of turbulent juice. So you got turbulent juice.
Oh, get it? Is it a cleaning product?
Yeah, so it's a beer apparently.
Sex sells, Morty. Sex sells what?
It doesn't say what hops are in it. It just says turbulent juice. 11th anniversary juicy IPA. 6.5%.
Here's me talking out of my ass for a second. The T in turbulent is a 7. I wonder if it's Idaho 7.
Yeah. No, it's actually because it's from Lewitt. So the T is actually a part of their logo.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
you held it up and I went 7-ulent juice.
Oh yeah, no, it's turbulent.
So I'm going. Is it Idaho 7?
The bottom of the T is like the curve that's in their logo. So
yeah, okay,
it's kind of And then I found a version of Big Bad Baptista that I'm quite excited to try. So I have a Big Bad Baptista called Coquito, probably. But this is a rum barrel aged cinnamon, vanilla, coconut. So rum barrel
Nice.
aged. I like rum barrel aged beers. So I'm gonna do that one second.
Yeah.
One, because it's a big beer. I think it's like a 9%. In fact, you know what? I didn't even look. I just saw the ingredients and I'm like, yes, I'm drinking that. And it doesn't say. I'll have to go look it up on Untapped.
9%. Well, that's
9%.
cute.
Yeah, I thought it might have been 9%.
Well, that's cute.
Yes. What do
Um,
you get, like a 13, 14% or something? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
from Black Raven Brewing, up in Washington. I don't remember exactly where this one's at.
Black Raven. I
Uh,
don't think I've heard of them.
this is, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna call last second audible. I thought I grabbed a different can, and
Okay.
so, I'm gonna have to put that one aside for a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna go switch out my first beer, but my
Okay.
second beer for the night. Um, Novella Hub got onto the Discord earlier today
Mhm.
and tagged me and also a longtime friend of the show, John Jay, saying it's the most wonderful time of the year because Shakopee is releasing their annual Herd of Turtles Imperial Stout. It is
Oh.
the Minneapolis or Shakopee, Minnesota based. It is their homegrown pastry stout, and it
Oh
is
yes. Okay. I
amazing.
just saw the post. Yes. There it is. You
So
got
I'm
it.
gonna finish with this guy today because they're
Uh,
releasing the 2024 today.
uh-huh.
This is the 2020. I think this is the 2022 version.
You're gonna be sipping on
Or
that
no,
well into the after show.
2020.
20. Oh, it's 20, so it's aged.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got a 4-year aged.
I've had this one a little while. So yeah, we're gonna crack that open today. Only 10.3%, but it is a full 750 bottle. It
So is it
is
supposed to be like a turtle candy, like
kind
pecans
yeah,
and
toffee pecan
toffee pecan?
candy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not necessarily deep and roasty,
Hmm.
but it's very much a pastry stout.
Okay. Ooh, that's gonna be sweet. And you're gonna try finishing that whole bottle, huh?
I'm opening that in the second hour of the show, and I will be
Uh-huh.
drinking that until midnight.
Yeah, probably. That's gonna say that's
So
gonna be. You're gonna be drinking it well into the after party. I'm sure.
yes. Anyway, give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna go grab a different beer to start off with.
All right, 10 seconds. I'll give him just 10 seconds, I guess. I'm gonna look if there's anything I can find on the turbulent juice, if I can find actually what the hop is. Sometimes it's hidden in the fine print. It's so dark in here. I gotta switch which page so I can have some light. No, no, it doesn't. It just says juicy IPA. Maybe if I look it up on Untapped, maybe it'll say. Now, what did you? It was Turtles on Parade, is what yours is?
Herd of Turtles,
Heart of Turtles.
Herd of Turtles Barrel Aged V2, and it is the 2020 variant. So they have like two or three different variants per year.
Hmm.
Kind of like Bourbon County Stouts will do. They will
Yep.
have a standard, and then they'll have a couple different barrel aged variants.
Okay, so this is the
Uh,
barrel aged.
so this is the 2020 barrel aged V2 Herd of Turtles.
Oh, there's the V1.
I've gotten so familiar with my Minnesota pastry stout Esoterra.
You just oh, they don't have V2 on Tapped that I can find.
That's what it is. V2 right
Huh.
there.
They just have V1, but it's
Yeah.
still like super highly rated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These start at like 4.25 and they go up from there. So we do have a couple messages to get to. Novella Hub, going big. Speaking of Novella, I did see this message just a couple minutes ago. My best to you and your family. That sucks. His grandmother passed away today at
Oh,
94 years old. So,
wow.
Novella,
Long life.
long life. Good thoughts to you and your
Good
family.
thoughts. Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
Going big tonight, saluting my grandmother, drinking a Firestone Walker Firestone 26th Anniversary Ale. Ah,
There we go.
when I go out, that's how I want to be saluted.
I want to be buried with it.
Yeah. Hopefully at the ripe old age of 94. Like,
Yeah, that would be nice. But I
that's
still
a
want to
good
be
run.
buried with it. That means I got treasure. People will try to dig me up
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
potentially clone me. So I mean, they're like, "Hey, I'm already in there getting this rare beer. Let's take a finger and clone them."
Yeah. Christ, not sure how to pronounce that. What's your pronunciation? Sends over $1 super chat and then sends over $5 and says, testing the super chat theory. I like pineapple on pizza. Yeah, so do I. You're not going to get banned for that.
I like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
I especially like I like everybody likes the Canadian bacon pineapple.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I don't mind that.
It's fine. Yeah.
But I like pepperoni, jalapenos, and pineapple.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
You do a meat lovers with a little spice and a little sweet, and that's amazing. The other one that you probably haven't tried, get yourself a barbecue chicken, add pineapple.
Oh no, I have not tried that. That would also be like sweet, savory, sour.
It's again that sweet, savory, contrasting flavors that shouldn't belong together, but absolutely belong together. Yes.
Because like they have like the teriyaki burger, which is like teriyaki sauce, which is kind of like a sweet Asian version of barbecue sauce.
One of my favorite things.
Yeah, they put a pineapple on that. So with some barbecue chicken, that should work too.
Exactly. Novella Hub says he was looking mine up. J. Carver Bourbon Barrel Aged out of Waconia, Minnesota is my particular bottle of this one. So, yeah, Rev says add pineapple and jalapenos. Exactly. That's the barbecue chicken, barbecue base and chicken and pineapple. Yeah, no, that's you do a barbecue chicken pizza, so it's a barbecue sauce. You have shredded chicken on there, or grilled chicken on there, bacon, sometimes sausage, and jalapenos and like red onions, and then add pineapple to that.
Oh yeah,
so good.
I'll have to try that next time.
Yeah,
I don't typically order the barbecue chicken pizza, but
if you go to Abby's right by you, they actually have a lunch special now that's like $8 for a pizza and a drink.
Oh, that's not bad.
And so it's cheaper than like most value meals that you get at burger joints these days. And so I like going to Abby's for lunch, because you get a personal 8-inch pizza or whatever. And you get a soda and you can have a beer while you're there. They do an amazing barbecue chicken pizza.
Okay, I've never had. I always get their just pepperoni and onion is what I get when I get Abby's, because that's what I like over there. But I have not tried their barbecue chicken. Yeah,
try that one out.
Okay.
Michael sends over 20 Aussie bucks. Thank you very much, Michael. Public holiday down under. Waking peanut butter whiskey in iced coffee. Steve and I have talked about peanut butter whiskeys before, peanut inspired whiskeys, and we've always felt that they are very much a gimmicky drink, where if you have something to drink them with, like you want to put a little bourbon on your ice cream or in some iced coffee, instead of like a hazelnut creamer or something, they make a lot of sense. But I hate peanut whiskey in general.
Yeah, when I first had it, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then the more I sipped it, I'm like, I think I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I did grab a different beer.
Okay.
So I grabbed the wrong beer at first. I grabbed the Black Raven Brewery Grandfather Raven Imperial Stout.
Huh.
And I went, I'm not doing 2 Imperial Stouts back to back. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
even I have limits.
Yeah.
Instead, I've got a Great Divide Brewery.
Oh, good. Great Divide's good.
Great Bones Double Dry Hopped IPA.
Oh, I think I've had that one before.
Yeah.
Almost positive I have.
And I think we're gonna do this one in the official Hops and Brews pint glass.
Oh, there you go. I was looking. There was I mean, we were only late by 2 minutes, and so there was a reason why the show was delayed. Is because, well, one, Jeff had some microphone issues, and I had camera issues,
Yeah.
so we were literally just troubleshooting to the last minute. So I just grabbed the first glass that I had. That's my Avery glass, which I really like. So turbulent juice is what I'm going to try. Smells juicy.
Yeah, this one, good color, really good color on it.
Yeah, that definitely looks like a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
Not a hazy at all.
Ooh. Ooh. You would like these hops.
Oh man, look at how juicy this thing looks. Cannot see through it at all.
Ah. Oh, that's good.
Mm. Well, this might be. So it's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's got I don't know if you've ever had some of those hazy IPAs where it almost tastes like a slightly spoiled orange.
Yes.
This is what it's kind of encroaching on.
Okay.
It's got some citrus flavor to it, but the citrus flavor is kind of almost reminiscent of like a rotting orange.
Slightly
almost.
fermented.
Yeah. Like it's like
hanging on just a little too long.
Yeah. That's what this tastes like. So it's okay. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just not great. But that one's good, huh?
This one's very good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I rated that one fairly high. That was the Dusty Bones or something like that? Or Great Bones. Great
Bones, yeah. Before you say anything, I would give this probably a 375.
Great Bones. Great Bones, Great Divide. And I gave it a, let me see, what does it say? Yep, 375. That's what I did.
You and I usually agree. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's very, very crisp. Very drying. And trying to think of what, almost like a guava type fruit to it. And it hits you immediately. And then it also dives off a cliff when it's done.
Yeah. So it doesn't linger.
Yeah, it's a very dry beer. But very, very good.
Yeah, that's what because I said if it was a bit sweeter, it would be like a 4.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that. It's very dry. It's a great lawnmower beer.
Yeah, something
for being
after
a double
day.
IPA.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into some news. Starting with a little bit of news out of China and their domestic x86 chip efforts. So China for a while has been or Zhaoxin, I should say, has been developing a domestically grown x86 CPU, and they're starting to show off some of the fruits of their labor. Starting with this, which is the KX 7000. It is an 8-core CPU, and it's getting some middling to decent performance considering how early China is into the x86 space.
Yeah.
China's developed ARM CPUs for years, but there's never been an in-house CPU development that does x86 outside of, were any of the companies based out of there? No, it doesn't. I was thinking Cyrix. No, they were Silicon Valley. There was Transmeta. There was and a couple others. No, so yeah, this is, to my knowledge, one of the first x86 shops out of China.
Outside China, yeah.
And they're boasting that their first generation CPU is hitting Intel Skylake, so 6th generation Intel level performance on single threaded, so 1-to-1 core performance. And seeing as how this is an 8-core CPU, it's besting it in multi-threaded. That's pretty impressive for a newcomer.
For right out of the bat.
The other interesting thing about the CPU is if you glance at it, it might look a little familiar.
Oh
In
yeah, we
fact,
talked. I think we talked about this. Yes.
yeah. Let me hold up a part right here, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll go back to that. That heat spreader looks fairly
Looks.
reminiscent,
Yeah. I wonder
right?
where that came
Looks
from.
looks a little familiar. So apparently, some suspicions of this not necessarily being a knockoff, but being very inspired by, are entirely correct. This is an LGA 1700 chip. You can install this onto an Intel LGA
Mm-hmm.
1700 motherboard, and it runs. Um, so apparently they have the CPU's working on some Asus motherboards right now, and they're working on microcode to be able to deploy on other motherboards.
Mm.
But that means they don't have to develop their own chipsets. They can purchase chipsets from existing motherboard manufacturers,
Right.
and make that work. Now, whether or not that fulfills China's doing a lot of what the U.S. is right now. Obviously, we're not getting along all that well at the moment, and so you have efforts from the United States to ban uh, Chinese made CPUs, if you're looking at ARM, if you're looking at companies like Huawei and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, banning their CPUs from infrastructure devices, routers, and government devices and things like that. China's doing the same thing, but the problem is the world still runs on x86, and so they have either Intel or they have AMD,
Right.
and so they're trying to develop their own in-house parts. The downside to developing for the LGA 1700 platform is the chipset is still an Intel part. It is still made by Intel.
Right. So they
Uh,
still have to rely on Intel to get parts of it.
yeah. So that's going to be some interesting uh, thing to get around eventually. Um, but like I said, early performance, pretty impressive. Um, so here's the KX 7000. Again, coming in right around, first generation Ryzen, sixth and seventh generation Intel. And then we get into multi-threaded performance where it's leaving, you know, obviously with 8 cores and potentially 16 threads, it's leaving the 4 core chips in the dust.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the Ryzen still holds a very strong lead in multi-threaded performance, if you're looking at the Ryzen 7 there. But yeah. And actually, I'm looking at this and thinking this is likely 8 cores, 8 threads. I doubt this has hyper-threading because it's also going 1-to-1 with a 7700K, which is a 4-core, 8-threaded chip.
Right. Yeah.
So thread per thread, it's tying performance of 7th generation. Single-threaded performance, it's beating 6th generation.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. I would be interested to get my hands on one to test out.
Right. I mean, we're getting these numbers from them, right? So, I mean, you really want to do your own real world benchmarking and stuff like that too.
Right.
But yeah, it would be super interesting to see what it's like. I mean, the first Chinese x86 processors coming out here.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they're not going to ban. I mean, I doubt they would ban the import of it. Maybe from, like you said, government devices and stuff like that. But for consumers, sure, you could grab one if you want. Start testing away.
Yeah. Yeah. Are these going to be, something you buy instead of Intel products if you're looking to game or whatever?
Yeah.
No, this is going to be a stupid buy for anyone on this side of the world that can easily get an Intel CPU.
Right. Unless it's like dirt cheap or something like that.
Even then, this is going to be a stupid buy because if you look at, use Xeon parts and things like that, like if you're looking for a budget option,
yeah.
4th generation Xeon is roughly in the ballpark of 6th generation as far as single-threaded performance, and multi-threaded performance is not even close when you consider, Xeon chips have 8-core, 16 threads at their base price of like $12 a CPU. Yeah, if you're looking for a budget option, this ain't it, pal.
Okay.
But I'd still be interested to take a look at this and just run it through its paces, see what it's like. I love interesting things like this.
Oh yeah, you had the Chinese motherboards that you kind of cut your teeth on at the beginning.
Yep.
Craft computing, you gotta continue with that with the Chinese CPUs.
This is kind of up my alley.
Yeah, it kind of
So
is.
it'll be optimized for CS2 and PUBG.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Could they possibly make their own chipset to bypass that? I'm sure they could.
they probably
Um,
will eventually, but
I'm betting that is in the plans eventually. Right now, they're probably trying to get a similar number of features, or at least tie into some of the already developed features of an Intel chipset. So if you could make an Intel chipset work for you, and you have access to PCI Express bus and NVMe drives and SATA controllers and all that other stuff that comes with it,
mhm.
that's an area you don't have to sink your development resources into right this second. And
Yeah,
so from business standpoint, that's probably where they're going. They're going, let's develop an in-house CPU that brings some middling performance, but is also 100% in-house. We'll develop the full lineup later. So, yeah, interesting
yeah,
stuff.
super interesting. Any word from like completion when it's going to be done, going to be released?
Supposedly they should be shipping here very soon. Um,
Oh,
and this is going to be a Chinese only market, or Chinese market only product.
right,
They're not looking at selling this in the West at all. Um, Again, I'd still be interested in getting a hold of one
right,
because I'm interested. I'm curious. Oddities like this in tech are what really keep me interested in tech. Like, I've never been one who is super interested in the absolute cutting edge. I'm more interested in what can you do with tech,
right.
and a lot of
Well,
my
it's
content
craft
reflects that.
craft computing. You want hobbyist. You want to figure out what to
Mm-hmm.
do with things you got. How far can you stretch tech?
That's
What kind
exactly
of fun
right.
things can you do with it? Yeah, no, it would be super interesting. I'm kind of wondering because I see a lot of the pictures of the BIOS and they're all in Chinese.
Yeah,
I doubt they're gonna take the time to make an English translation of it.
that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to
Yeah.
find out. I wouldn't be surprised if they did eventually. Simply because if you look at the Russian modding scene
Yeah.
with a lot of the X99 boards. I mean that China is where they're building like the Hunanji and
Mhm.
Jingsha and all those type motherboards. Russia is who's developing the BIOS for them.
Oh, okay.
And the crossover language there is English.
Right. So they
So
all both know
if you're a
English. Yeah. So
Russian
they
hacker and a Chinese developer, you both speak English.
right.
So
English is the connecting language. It just brings us all together.
right. So that's why we have a lot of English BIOS on those type of motherboards, is because they're developed in Russia.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
All right. Um Normally we'd put a sponsor here. I don't have a sponsor this week. However, I do have a couple new items in the store.
give you some
Um
peddling. Peddle off your wares.
yeah, might as well peddle my wares and still make some money, even though no one paid me this week.
Sit a while and listen.
Yes, yes. Um, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
If Maurice Moss from the IT crowd
Right.
were to play Jules from Pulp Fiction,
Uh-huh.
what would be on his wallet?
Uh Bad mother flipper. Oh yeah, that's right, because he has flipper. Flipping this and flipping that.
You think this is a mother flipping joke?
Well, that
So
was also Flight of the Concords too. I'm
yes,
the mother flipping.
I'm the mother
You're the
flipping.
mother flipping. The hip hopopotamus. Yeah.
Yes. So, I got wallets back in stock finally.
Oh, nice.
Had some supply issues. Finally found a supplier that was able to ship me my wallets. A lot of people love minimalist style wallets.
Yeah.
So I took the two favorite colors from the last run that I did. I had 5 colors last time, and 2 colors sold out almost immediately, and that was black and green. And so I've got both colors, these 2 colors in stock now. I've got a black one, I've got a green one. Um, and before, my wallets have had funny HTTP error codes like error 429, too many requests, error 404, money not found, 204, no content, 402, payment required, 406, not acceptable. It's really funny when you think about HTTP error messages in the context of your wallet.
And money, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I did there. But I also got challenged by a Patreon member who says, I want a Jules wallet. I want a bad mother wallet. And I said, well, I don't know that I want to sell that.
But you could say.
But I could say bad mother flipper.
Yeah.
So bad mother flipper wallets.
You could have gone Battlestar Galactica and said bad mother fracker.
Bad mother fracker, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Ridge wallet. Haha. Very, very similar design. There are some distinctive differences between this. This is not a straight Ridge knockoff. But it has the money clip on it. It is an aluminum wallet, multi-piece design. It's got the expandable, elastic in it to keep it all secure. It's got the finger slot to get your cards out easily. It does work quite well. So push the cards out, then you can just kind of fan them out. This wallet's brand new, so I haven't broken it in yet. But holds up to 5 cards very comfortably. Has the money clip on the back. And now you too can be a bad mother flipper. Craftcomputing.store. Mother flippers think everything's a mother flipping joke. Yeah, as Coffee and Cynicism says in the Discord chat. Yes. 419, I'm a little teapot, is on there. Or no, teapot is not on there. How did I? Oh no,
I don't think we talked about it, but I don't think we ever did it.
It's 418, and 419 is not I'm a little teapot. Neither is 418. The actual code is tip me over and pour me out. That's the error message. And so I do have 418 on there. Yeah, it was meant as a debug error message. So you could say, please return 418. And the joke was I'm a little teapot. And the HTTP would respond, tip me over and pour me out. 418 is an error message, and I do print it on the wallets. Novella Hub says, where's the craft computing glass, or the hops and brews glass? It has disappeared from the store. It is in my item list. It is set to visible. I have a ticket in with my hosting provider right now going, where the crap is the hops and brews glass? Because it has disappeared from the storefront. The whiskey stones and the bottle opener are still there, but the glass has disappeared, and I don't know why.
Oh yeah, you were just mad that John was selling more glasses than you.
Yep. Yeah, I had to cut him down.
You had to cut him down. It's like, I don't know what happened. I put a ticket in.
Yeah. So short of like deleting the item and recreating it, which I'm sure will eventually be the solution. I did start looking into it this week of like, why isn't that item showing up? But I'm reporting it as a bug report and I'm leaving it alone in case this has happened to other people or they can look into it and go, oh, that's what happened. Cool. We fixed it now instead of me just working around it. So we need a titanium version. If the wallets are a big hit, which so far they have been, I did a decent number. I bought double the quantity this time, and the 2 most popular colors. So I'm hoping they will continue to be a good hit. I'm selling them far below a Ridge wallet. These are $22 in the store. Yeah, they're a good deal. If you've been looking for a minimalist wallet. But that's not to say that I won't look at adding other materials, composites. Titanium would be pretty cool. My laser engraver can do titanium. So... Oh
wow, it'd be a lot more expensive, but yeah.
yes, it would be.
I want a solid gold Ridge wallet.
Yeah. So these ones I bought from a supplier who make parts specifically for like laser engraving and things like that. If I were to go with titanium or some more exotic materials, I would need to probably contract that with someone, design it. It would end up being a very expensive thing. That's not to say there wouldn't be a market for it. So if you guys like these and you want to see more products like this, show me by buying. Let me know. Let me know you'd be interested in stuff like this.
Would you consider a bejeweled ridged wallet?
I don't know if I could laser engrave those.
You just, just like a craft, you would make the bejeweled spell something out. You would put
Yeah.
those little glue tiny jewels.
Gold would probably be easier for the laser. My laser will do most metals. It will do gold. I don't necessarily want to do gold because I'd be vaporizing some of the gold
Yeah.
off the surface. So
You could just get in there and breathe it in. Like
yeah,
it's like you're snorting the gold.
yeah.
Ah.
All employees must blow their nose after every shift.
Yeah, it's like
Okay, put that in the shredder.
yeah. You got 24 karat boogers.
But yeah, so that's on there now. And if you haven't seen, we also have our 2 new coasters on there. I only have one of them handy, but the beer installation disc,
Yes.
designed after the Doom installation floppies. These are also now in the store. So
Yes. I have the wooden version
yes.
that was a limited edition only if you went to PDX Land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like giving out swag at LAN parties. It's just fun. So LTX, when I went up to LTX, I gave away some keychain bottle openers. This time at PDX LAN, we did the wooden coasters.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple different versions. We had the all new Intel Xeon coaster, as well as the beer coaster. Yeah, so.
Yeah. They work really good. I can put drinks on it.
Yes.
I haven't broken yet, so
these
great.
ones aren't sealed, so they may eventually swell.
Yeah,
I didn't
know.
go through the
They
process
might,
of
yeah,
like heat treating them or anything, or water treating them.
I got issues. I'm trying to troubleshoot this. It's not getting on my glass. My glass is not getting on it.
This beer is biting a bit like a hazy.
Was it really?
It really is. Like that dryness of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually starting to irritate the back of my mouth.
Yeah,
like the back of my cheeks.
We had that with earlier hazies. Like it almost had that kind of acidic burn, and then they somehow figured how to get rid of that because I don't really experience that anymore with hazies.
Right. Yeah, that was a 2016 hazy.
Yeah.
But it was 8 years ago now.
Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're drinking beer. But yeah, no, I don't really get that so much anymore. But I know exactly what that feeling is like. Yes.
My daughter turned 11 earlier this year, and earlier this week took the opportunity to let me know she's closer to 20 than 0.
Well, she figured. I mean, she knows that, right? She got past the 10.
She is way too clever for her own good. I don't know where she gets her snarky humor from either.
Oh yeah, no, not at all, huh?
Not at all. Anyway, moving right along, Western Digital today announced what is technically the top of, or not the top yet, because that goes to 128 terabyte or something like that. But launched an absurd memory card.
Yes.
And I do mean absurd. I have a hard time wrapping my head around 1 terabyte SD cards. The highest I've been willing to go is I have a pair of 512s for each of my cameras here in the studio. So if I'm doing anything remotely, I record to both at the same time, so my footage gets backed up. But 512 gigs on an SD card freaks me out. And what's funny is I didn't really get freaked out when we started hitting, because I sold SD cards in 2004.
Oh yeah, and they were like, what? The
64 megabytes,
yeah, 64 megs,
right. When I first started working at a specialty camera shop, we were selling 256 and 512s for like $400.
Yeah. But people were still amazed at that because I mean it was okay back then. They weren't the micro SD; they were the bigger ones. But
we were selling like compact flash.
Oh, the compact flash. Okay, yeah.
So the big old guys, and SD cards always kind of trailed behind. So we were selling like 64 and 128 meg SD cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's like 4 rolls of film. What's the big deal? And even when we 1000x'd that and we went to 128 gig. It really didn't freak me out because it was kind of the natural evolution of technology.
Oh yeah,
We're 20 times larger than that now, and
I
that's
know.
the number that's starting to freak me out. Because I've been around this standard since 2003. Like, I've owned
Yeah.
SD cards that long. And, 20 years later, we went from... I literally have a 16 megabyte SD card on my windowsill. This is a 4 terabyte card that'll fit in the same slot.
Yeah,
Electrically identical.
I think I have I have a 16 megabit MP3 player still sitting around her.
Yeah. Yeah. Western Digital announces 4 terabyte SanDisk Extreme Pros. UHS 3 V30 compatible. These will write 4K video for as long as you can run the video camera.
Oh man,
for.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 terabyte doubles the capacity of the largest micro SD cards, earning the title of world's largest removable memory card. It's a giant leap from the 32 megabyte of SD cards that it boasted in 1999. Yeah.
I know how far we've come, and it's just a little tiny thing too. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah.
4 terabytes. Now, I wonder if the write speed is fast enough that you can do like slow-mo filming, like in the high-end slow-mo cameras.
This UHS 3 V30s do something like 140 megabyte per second.
Oh, okay.
So like 800 megabit. Most cameras, like my Sony cameras at 4K, the internal H.264 codec is 100 megabit.
Okay.
So these are 8 times faster than the codec will deliver. Now you can get cameras that'll do, like if you get a Blackmagic camera, you can do ProRes to SD, and those you can start pushing, 400 and 500 megabit. Yeah, 4 terabytes SD card.
Man, when's this coming out? Not that I need one now. Oh, they're out already. Okay.
Yep.
How much are they?
That's a great question. It's slated for release in 2025.
Oh, okay, okay.
And pricing details for the new product haven't been released yet. Quote, but don't expect it to be cheap.
No, of course not. I mean, come on. You could literally have a whole you can film a whole movie on there.
Yeah.
Multiple shots, everything.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
I know. It just keeps getting nuts.
Yep. I don't know what it is about the 4 terabyte number that freaks me out. I think it's because we've exceeded by like a factor of 8 or more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even surprise, like spinning discs. It doesn't surprise me when I see new numbers come out, how big.
Right, like them. A 20 terabyte drive doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
1 terabyte drives came out in 2007. Like, yeah. I'm not shocked by a 20 or a 22 or a 24 terabyte spinning drive. I wasn't shocked with a 1 terabyte drive because my first hard drives were 140 megabytes. Like, big old chunky clicky boys. Like, yeah, those numbers never shocked me. The SD card, for some reason, it just freaks me out. And I think it's because, going back to spinning hard drives, thinking about some of those earlier drives that I worked with, I've worked with 40 megabyte drives before.
Oh, yeah.
40 megabyte, double thick 3.5-inch drives. Like, drives that are this tall because they've got 12 platters in them.
Yep.
That are like 4 megabytes each.
Yep. Yeah, I had a set of 2 SCSI 9 gigabit, and that they were like this big. They were that tall. They were big boys.
Yeah. Zach says my NAS from about 10 years ago was only 4 terabytes. If you guys remember back to 2018, when I did my first server video, I did a video where I built a TrueNAS server. And that was replacing an older server that I had here in my house. In that server, I had 4 2 terabyte drives in a RAID 5 with a hardware RAID controller for a working capacity of 6 terabytes.
Mm-hmm.
This is one SD card.
Yeah,
I think that's what freaks me out.
Yeah.
Is it wasn't that long ago that like 6 terabytes was a good working amount for my workflow, for
Yeah.
my home storage, for everything that I held dear. Um, Even as a video editor, like I held on to that 6 terabyte server 2 years. Like it worked for 2 years, and then I upgraded it with like an 18 terabyte unit. Like I didn't go whole hog because I didn't need that much space.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't until I moved into the new house and we went 100% 4K, and I had a 4K slow motion camera, and we were recording in, you know, ProRes LT at 422 10-bit, like that I really started exploring the space. And even now, my craft computing directory, like my entire video editing library going back 200 episodes of craft computing is what I have raw footage for, is like 60 terabytes. It's a lot of video.
That's a lot of video,
it's a lot of space. But if you consider that's like 4 years worth of video,
yeah, that's a lot.
It's only 60 terabytes.
Yeah. And it's all in 4K too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, every video since 2019 has been shot in 4K.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh, the SD RAID thing.
Yeah, Copying Cynicism sharing the SD RAID card in case anyone really wants to hate themselves. Yeah, dropping 10 micro SD cards onto a SATA backplane. I mean, you know, with the cost of 1 terabyte micro SDs, that might be kind of fun to play with. Screw it, I built my own 10 terabyte drive with blackjack and hookers.
Taped it all together with some old SD cards I had laying around.
Right. Speaking of RAID, this one caught my eye. For most people, in most spaces, in most server environments I've ever worked with, we have long passed the date of we need RAID 0 access to something. Because drives have become so fast that for the most part, we've been able to scale out RAID arrays at a rate which at least meet the requirements of the read speed of databases or financial information or whatever else. It's been a long time since there's really been a use case to go, oh yeah, you need to run RAID 0. Like, the last time I deployed RAID 0 was for myself in 2008 with a pair of mechanical drives for my Windows boot disk. And I used a pair of 80 they were the 150 gigabyte Western Digital Velociraptor 10K drives.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I ran those in a RAID 0 for my operating system with Windows Vista. That's the last time I really felt a need for it, because as soon as we went SSD,
it was like, what was the point? Yeah.
Any scale, anything that you were working on, you could do a redundant array that was fast enough.
Yeah.
There are still use cases out there, and especially as we're getting into like AI training algorithms and things like that that are very read data dependent. We're starting to see some use cases for RAID 0, specifically NVMe RAID 0, specifically PCI Express 5
NVMe
RAID 0.
RAID 0s. That's crazy.
Highpoint is putting out a new Rocket RAID. Yeah, remember that name? Rocket RAID? Highpoint?
Rocket RAID.
Highpoint is a storage controller company. They specialize in SATA, SAS, RAID array, hardware RAID style cards.
Okay.
And the Rocket RAID is one of their most popular series of cards. They are releasing this.
Yeah.
This card supports 8 M.2 NVMe drives on an X16 carrier board. But it gets better. There is a built-in RAID 0 controller.
Mm-hmm.
You can run 4 PCI Express Gen 5 or 8 PCI Express Gen 4 NVMe drives for a total throughput of 56 gigabytes per second.
A second, yeah.
On a single X16 card.
That's stupid mad speed.
56 gigabytes per second. That's 800 gigabit. That is exceeding our fastest Ethernet connectivity to date.
Yeah.
This is faster than the fastest network card in existence.
That's insane.
And I just thought you all needed to know.
like, of course, it's like all new technologies. It's going to be extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, do I not want one?
Right. Do I have a need for one? No.
No. I mean, at those speeds, you're not even going to get faster load times for your games or anything like that. It's going to be kind of ridiculous, but it is cool. It is super cool to have.
High Point, not to be confused with High Point, but they offer the same level of quality. For someone who knows what he's talking about, that's really funny.
Yeah.
High Point is a firearms manufacturer known for their stamped manufacturing technique. So, manufacturing. Most people consider milling to be like the be-all end-all, like CNC milled components.
Yeah, mill stuff.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Followed by forging, and again, these are interchangeable depending on your end product and what your metrics are and things like that. But forging is number 2, which is creating a master mold, putting a material into it, and forging a product. Using a master. Stamping is the product of rapid manufacturing. It is the process of creating a series of die presses that presses a flat sheet of metal into a formed
pushes it out. Mm-hmm. Yep.
High Point makes press manufactured firearms.
That sounds like it would fall apart pretty easily.
They're terrifying. Yeah. They're not good.
The guns look like a 6-year-old built them out of Duplos, which was kind of funny because my son just made me a gun out of Duplos the other day.
Yeah. No, High Point firearms are what that sketchy guy that you knew in high school points at the camera at age 19. I just got my Glock. That's not a Glock. That's a High Point.
Man. Yeah. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
They do not look great.
They're not good. They're not good. But yeah, no, High Point, the one that's owned by Broadcom, not the one that's owned by Cabela's. I believe High Point is owned by Cabela's. I think they're an internal brand of Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, etc. Yeah. 56 gigabyte per second RAID 0. I desperately want to try this. Again,
that's going to be
I have no point.
awesome.
I have no point.
No need for it. Yeah.
I just want it. The scariest thing ever. I put +P in my High Point. Yeah, NVIDIA just debuted 800 gigabit per second switches. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, those are coming. 800 gig is coming very soon. I know Intel is at 400 right now. They're moving to 800. A couple other industries that I know of are moving to 800 very quickly. Yeah, it's coming. It's going to be a thing. Speaking of it's going to be a thing, how's your beer treating you?
I halfway done still. I'm only halfway done.
You're not enjoying that one, are you?
I am not. This is not as good as I thought it was going to be. I mean, to be fair, I didn't even look at. Usually, when I pick up my beers, I'll look it up on Untappd and see what the rating is, and if the rating's pretty good, then I'll grab it.
Right.
This one I just grabbed sight unseen because of the name. It's like, all right, the marketing got me. All right. So, but I'm not really enjoying it too much.
Yeah.
Normally I
Well,
would sip
my
it
night's
faster.
about to get a lot better.
Oh, you're gonna go for the big
I
boy.
well, I just polished mine off, so
Oh my
I really
god.
enjoyed my Great Divide, Great Bones. Like I said, it was a little dry, it was a little bitter. I might have to lower it to a 3.5. I don't think it's 3.7. Like I need to knock a half or a quarter point off simply
Yeah,
because the
that
at
burning thing.
the back of my cheeks are puckering. Like right here, it feels like it's
It's just
pulling a little
too
bit.
dry, too dry.
Just right here in my jawbone, it feels like it's
Yeah.
a little too dry, a little too bitter, a little too acidic, and it led me to not enjoying the beer to its fullest. This one, I fully expect to enjoy
Oh
to
yeah.
its fullest.
Yeah, especially if you sip that slow. You drink that too fast, it might get
Yeah.
too sickly sweet, is what I'm
Yes.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is from Shakopee beer. This is Shakopee Brew Hall, Shakopee, Minnesota. Herd of Turtles 2020 barrel aged V2. Oh, that is pastry.
Yeah.
And that is brown sugar Pop Tart in a toaster oven pastry.
Well, my next one's gonna be very pastry-esque too.
Yeah.
Man, if I bought a second glass, I could have just grabbed a second glass and like just.
This is pouring like a barley wine.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can see how thick it is. It looks like motor oil.
Yeah. It looks like clean motor oil too. It's not
Mhm.
dark. Like
Yeah,
you
when
can
it's
actually
pouring, you can
the
see
light
that. Yeah,
through it.
you can see it. You can see the light going through it.
There we go. Zero head. Zero head at all.
Yep. So almost no carbon. Is there carbonation in there?
There's bubbles.
Okay.
The nucleation's doing work. I can here. Can you hear it?
I cannot.
I can hear it in my monitor. It's
Okay.
fizzing.
Okay.
It's fizzing pretty good. Yeah, glad that bottle survived.
Yeah.
So Novella, friend of the show, Heart Novella, has sent me numerous packages throughout the years. I got a package year and a half ago. That came with a very soggy corner to it.
Oh yeah.
And inside were a number of great beers, a couple of Herd of Turtles and whatnot, but one of them was a Herd of Turtles anniversary bottle, which is a very rare bottle. And that was the one that broke in transit.
Oh,
That was heartbreaking.
That would be.
Like, you want to suck it out of the cardboard. Like, heartbreaking.
We can save this. We can save this. We have the technology.
It's still good, I swear.
You check it in Untapped. It says not bad. It's a little hint of cardboard, not too much.
Yep.
Okay, I'm drinking my IPA faster now.
Okay.
I'll get to my beer in a second.
You can feel free to jump out for a second, grab another glass if you do so desire.
No, it's okay.
I've poured beers on this channel before, Steve.
All right, okay. I'll go grab something.
I'm not going to make you suffer with a bad.
All right, I'll grab it.
Okay. I've suffered with a bad beer. It's horrible. I have learned that if a beer is going to be a 1 out of 5, just move on with your life. There's no reason to try to stick it out, to man up. It's only happened a couple times on the show. Like, out of 400 plus videos I've done on craft computing, I think I've only poured 3 beers out, like into the sink where they belong. Where I've opened a beer, went like, today's beer is this, and then I pour the beer and go, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, and then I take a sip and go, no, definitely don't like that. I've suffered some bad beers. Like, there's some beers I can muscle through. Other ones that I know are just awful, I punt. There's no shame in that. At least it wasn't a pickle beer. Darn straight. Maple syrup. Cinnamon.
Okay.
Sorry, I just took my first sip. Maple syrup,
Uh-huh.
cinnamon,
Yeah.
toffee,
Oh.
zero roast.
So
No coffee.
absolute pastry stout type of a thing.
Absolute pastry
Very,
stout.
very dessert forward.
Sticky bun pastry stout.
Okay. Yeah, I still couldn't find a because I have a craft computing and a hops and brews glass. I don't know what I did with them. They're around here somewhere. Well, this one definitely has a head.
Yeah, Rev says he remembers at least one pour out. I was saying, and as the bee's knees rightly points out, life is too short for bad beer.
Oh yeah.
I was saying, don't be afraid of the pour out. Like, I've suffered through some mediocre beers simply for the experience of them.
Yeah.
But I've also learned that if I take my first sip and go, no, just no.
I wouldn't categorize that IPA had as a bad beer necessarily. It's just so.
Steve, you drank this much in an hour. You were not enjoying that beer.
No. That was okay because this glass. It's not. I think it's only like 8 ounces, so I can only do.
Oh, so you were topping off.
Okay. I was topping off. I was going.
Okay.
On. So I drank up.
I looked at the glass and I went, "You're down this much."
Yeah. No, I had just refilled it. Refilled it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little more sense then.
Okay. Oh, that smells pretty good. I mean, Big Bat Batistas is always usually really good.
Yep. I think one of my pour outs was actually during one of my first cloud gaming server videos.
Oh, was it really?
I remember it was in the house that was next to you. Because for about a 6-month period in time, I lived literally next door to Steve.
Yeah.
And there was one video that I shot there, and I think I only shot like 8 videos there. Like, I shot for the end of summer, and then by fall I was so busy with work and other things that, and my schedule just didn't allow me to shoot it all, and so I went 2.5 months without shooting a video. We still did the live show, but I had stopped doing videos for a short amount of time.
And those were awesome live shows. I love those. Those were just I just walked down there.
Walked down. We opened the liquor cabinet.
Yeah,
what whiskeys did you buy this week? No one was driving. It was fantastic. No, it was
great. Yes, it was good times.
Not only that, but after the show, we would either turn around and open the whiskey cabinet, or we would walk back to your house and either you would go, "Oh, I just got this new whiskey," and we'd try that one, or your neighbor would come out and go, "Dude, I just bought like these 2 like 19% beers."
Yeah.
And we'd slam those like 2 in.
Yes. That was before we had an after party. And we just like right afterwards.
Yep.
What else can we drink?
We had an after party. It just wasn't public.
It was just us.
Speaking of, join the Patreon. Get access to the Discord after party. We live stream on the Discord every Wednesday night immediately following Talking Heads, where you can video chat with us. It's just a community voice chat, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's usually 20 or so people in there.
Yeah.
And it's literally whatever goes. Wherever the conversation goes, wherever we want to take it. We do still have some moderation in there. We're not going to let, assholes dominate the conversation. I'm certainly not. I don't want to waste my time with that. But at the same time, if you want to ask questions, if you want to, hey, Jeff, what did you think about the Fallout movie or the Fallout,
series,
TV show?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it there. Let's do all, what's your favorite Star Trek? What's your favorite episode? What's your least favorite episode? What's, where do you see tech going? What's your favorite hardware product you've reviewed? What's the real story behind EK water blocks? Can you tell us? After party. It's all there.
Yeah, that's all there. A more open, free-flowing discussion. I sometimes I'll sit there and I'll play a game or something like that too.
Yeah.
While we're talking. That's
absolutely fun. AMD made an announcement earlier this week, or not an announcement, rather it is reported. This is still a rumor, but it's a rumor that I kind of believe. And that is that AMD is looking to bring Epyc CPUs to the consumer platform. That is bringing AMD Epyc CPU layouts and architecture to the AM5 socket. reportedly named AMD Epyc 4004. It is
Mm.
going to use either Zen 4 or Zen 4C cores. And should, in theory, offer an entry-level Epyc platform.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Which, look, I've been down on Intel for a long time for their entry-level Xeon platform.
Yeah.
I've never liked their entry-level Xeon platform, except for the fact that in the earliest of early days of the Intel consumer platform Xeon chips, at least you got hyperthreading. Like, at least you got all 4 cores and 8 threads instead of just 4 cores and 4 threads like you were stuck with on consumer, which was only allowed on the i7 chips. At least you got 8 threads on CPUs that were reasonably affordable for enterprise. But other than that, there really hasn't been any compelling reason to buy Intel. They didn't allow for registered ECC memory. It was non-registered ECC.
Non-registered ECC. Yep.
Which, as of the latest release of Intel desktop CPUs, Rocket Lake, they can use or Raptor Lake, excuse me. They can use non-registered ECC memory as long as your motherboard supports it. As long as you have a whatever the server chipset is, I forget. But there hasn't been a lot of reason to do it. That being said, I'm going to have a lot of the same thoughts if AMD just rebrands some of their chips as Epyc and then charges more money. I'm going to have the same exact thoughts. I feel if AMD brings something different. I feel if AMD brings a couple of fully unlocked Zen 4C cores and puts 32 cores onto a consumer socket and allows for more PCI Express.
Yeah.
And allows for registered ECC. You bring enterprise components down to a more reasonable level. I'm going to be all for it. If this is just a rebadge of a 7950X, I don't need it. No one needs this.
No one needs it, yeah. But we shall see. So this is still just rumored at this point? Because somebody's tweeting stuff out, but I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, so right now, the only thing we have to go on is a couple of tweets and an article from Video Cards, which is based on those couple of tweets. See all this to be confirmed stuff in here?
Oh, yeah.
Max core count. Who knows? If it's 16 core, I'm going to be disappointed. Unless it's 16 core with some added features. If it's the same 16 core that you can get on the 7950X, but it also comes with a better, I/O die. It comes with a better chipset. It comes with expanded PCI Express options and whatnot. I'm going to be here for it. Yeah. If it's just a rebadge, I'm not. It's rumored this will also include 3D V-cache, so X3D SKUs. If you want the multi-layer SKUs. Max power and internal GPU, still up in the air as well. Who knows? Target, data center, enterprise, someone, who knows? I don't know. Do you know? No one knows.
No one knows. I mean, could be the target. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, doesn't mean you still couldn't buy one if you wanted to. But yeah, all very much rumored stuff. Yeah.
I think this could be a successful lineup if it offers something you can't already get on consumer for people who don't understand the compromises that come with consumer hardware.
Yeah.
For some places, running consumer hardware makes a lot more sense than running enterprise hardware, simply from a money standpoint. It's an X's and O's scenario.
Right.
It's a dollars and cents scenario.
And then what your use cases are, of course.
Right. So what do I want from it? I want more PCI Express.
Mm-hmm.
I want registered ECC.
Mhm.
If you give me those two things, if you give me 48 lanes, that is 3x16. If
Yep.
you give me 48 lanes, I'll be happy. Even if you give me like 36 lanes, I'll be pretty happy. It's an increase from 20.
Right.
20 is pathetic. 20 is embarrassing. Because 20 gives you a graphics card, an NVMe card, and then everything else is chipset connected.
Yep.
Give me an expansion slot that's CPU connected that I can actually freaking use. I talked about this at the beginning of last week's show. I put together a replacement streaming rig, which I'm still on today. It's been 10 days now on this new streaming PC. This is the second show on this streaming PC. I need, in the streaming PC, well, I don't need the 100 gig network card, but I have it, so I want to use it. But I have an X16 graphics card, I have 2 NVMe drives, and I have an X8 HDMI capture card, and it needs all X8.
Yeah.
You cannot install that in a consumer platform.
No, you can't.
There's not a consumer platform that exists that allows you to install an X16 and an X8 and run them at full speed. Flat out. So, consumer platform, for my use case of a video card and a capture card, there's nothing under $3,000 that does that. So what did I do? I pulled an old X99 rig off the shelf. I'm running Haswell right now.
But it works.
It works fantastically.
Yeah, it works great.
I mean, the show's gone off without a hitch. Last week's show's gone off without a hitch. I edited the last 2 videos and did all my video capture 100% on Linux. I'm editing a third one right now, 100% on Linux. My channel has been run on Linux for the last 10 days.
Oh.
I haven't even touched a Windows PC for production purposes in 10 days.
How's it feel?
Pretty good. I'm not saying there haven't been a couple of struggles, mainly around a couple of software workflows that I have, specifically around things like Photoshop.
Yeah.
It's hard to get around how good Photoshop is and how crappy everything else is.
Yes, I know.
But I also made the switch from Premiere to DaVinci Resolve. So... and DaVinci Resolve has been amazing. You can run it X8 and X8. No, you can't. They don't allow you to. Consumer motherboards do not allow bifurcation of the top X16 slot. You get X16 and then you get X8. And the X8 is usually 4 to the NVMe and then 4 to the chipset, which then splits out to everything else.
Yeah.
That's how consumer motherboards work. So no, you can't even bifurcate your X16 to get 2 X8s. I would love it if you can, because my graphics card in here, which is an RTX 4060, I don't need to buy 16, I need to buy 8. Give me buy 8 for another card. Nope, sorry.
Nope, can't do it. Can't split it off.
But on top of... Here's what I'm running in my rig right now. I've got a 2687W V4. It's a 12-core CPU that turbos to 4 gigahertz. It's amazing. It's the best X99 CPU that exists, especially for single-threaded performance. The cool thing is, 3.5, with a base clock of 3.0, which means your performance, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your workload, how many threads you're doing, it's extraordinarily consistent. Yeah. You're always between 3.0 and 3.5 gigahertz. I have 64 gigs of registered ECC in here running at DDR2400. Not insanely fast, but good enough. And 64 gigs have been more than plenty for my workflow.
Oh yeah, plenty. Yeah.
I have an RTX 4060 running in an X16 slot. It's I believe that's only an X8 card. I'll need to verify that though. I have a Blackmagic Decklink Quad HDMI. It does 4 HDMI 4K 60 inputs simultaneously. It does each HDMI input over a PCI Express X2 link. It needs all X8 of those slots.
It needs all of those, yeah.
It needs all that bandwidth if you're using that. And I frequently use at least 2 of those slots simultaneously, which is why I need that card. I also have a ConnectX 4 from Mellanox 100 gig network card that is on another X16 slot. I then have 2 NVMe drives installed in here. I also took the only other slot on this motherboard, which is a PCI Express X1, and I added a USB-C dual port 5 gigabit port.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because my webcam is a 4K webcam that requires USB-C 5 gigabit to get the full image resolution.
Oh, really? So you're going to go, yeah.
If you're on a standard USB-A, if you're on a USB 3.1, doesn't work. That's only 2.5 gig. I need 5 gig.
Right. You need the 5. Okay.
So I had to add a USB-C controller to this so it wouldn't share resources with anything else, and it gets dedicated USB 3.2. But hey, my webcam, it works. Everything works. And it's great. But no, I'm on an 8-year-old platform. I built this 8-year-old platform to run my channel because that was the best option.
And you're running it on Linux too.
Oh yeah, and it's running on Linux.
Yeah.
That's the other
what flavor are you running?
It is running Zorin 17.
Zorin 17.
Zorin OS, which is an Ubuntu-based operating system. Debian Ubuntu tree operating system. The reason I like Zorin is the user interface is very, very friendly. It is designed to be a Windows replacement. And even more than it's designed to be a Windows replacement, it has a wine compatibility layer built into the OS itself.
Oh, see, that's really nice. Yeah.
And I'm actually looking at installing Photoshop on Zorin.
Just to see how it works?
To see if it works.
Yeah. Just
to see. So far, I've been trying to fully transition over to Linux native products, and so, like I said, I've been running DaVinci Resolve. I have a 64-core Threadripper on my other desk,
right?
And I'm running DaVinci Resolve on my 12-core Xeon Haswell chip, simply to see if it can work. If this experiment works, I may convert that workstation and maybe go back to Windows over on this side. But I'm learning on this one. But as far as other applications, I'm running OBS, and it's not the Flatpak version. I have to run the specific version of OBS because Blackmagic has Linux drivers for the Decklink card that only tie into the non-Flatpak version of OBS. So if I want my HDMI capture card to work in OBS, I have to use the Debian repo version of OBS. But I've got 2 browsers open right now. I've got Chrome and I've got Firefox. I do Chrome for my administration, and I do Firefox for the websites that I show you, because I don't want any personal identifiable information.
Yep.
So I don't log into this. This browser is just so you people can see what I'm doing on my screen. And for demonstration purposes, if I'm installing an OS or running a tutorial, it's so if I type something in, some autocomplete doesn't pop up that I don't see, and I include personally identifiable information in a video. That's a bad thing. This doesn't have a password manager. This doesn't have any... I never log into any account with this browser.
So it's all anonymous browsing.
Exactly.
Well, not anonymous, but none of your personal information is gonna accidentally pop up while you're streaming.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it helps keep me safe.
Yeah.
But I do use both browsers quite frequently. Gosh, what other software do I mean, I'm running Zoom. Zoom has a native Linux client. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that. No,
it has a native Linux desktop client that was accessible through the software installer program.
Really? I didn't know that.
I went in there, I typed in Zoom and went, hey, Zoom will work. Awesome. I didn't even think about that when I switched over. And that's kind of a critical point of my workful.
That is, yes.
I do things like this.
You do all this, yes.
Right. No, Zoom has a native Linux desktop application. And it works. It works fantastically well.
No, it does work. I mean, because I have the Windows version of it, and it's obviously working just fine.
Yeah.
I think Novella Hub is asking the same thing I was. So if you're not using Photoshop, are you using GIMP?
I am using GIMP.
Okay. Because I don't really like GIMP. I don't like GIMP.
I hate GIMP with an unbridled passion.
I know. I always like, not that they were Linux users or anything like that, but when people are like, oh, I heard of Photoshop, I want Photoshop installed. It's like, well, Photoshop's kind of expensive, and if you don't really want to use it, there's an equivalent free version out there called GIMP, and I've always like kind of bit my lip. I'm like, it's free and it's got a lot of features. It's got more features than MS Paint, obviously, but I'm still like, it's just not a great
It's
piece of
not
software.
the same.
It's not even close to being the same.
DaVinci Resolve is a bona fide professional nonlinear video editor. It's a professional NLE backed by a professional company that actually uses it in production for major cinema.
Yeah.
It has every feature you could ever want in Adobe Premiere. It's just I've used Adobe Premiere for 12 years, and I didn't want to relearn it, because learning a workflow in a specific application like that, it takes a lot of time. And I have a very established workflow that I do in Premiere, and I got very good at editing videos. And look, DaVinci is a great tool, but it also works completely differently in every facet than Adobe Premiere does.
Yeah.
And I've been having to relearn this tool over the last 10 days and change my workflow. And how do I get this same effect, but the way that DaVinci wants it done, rather than the way that Premiere wants it done?
Yeah.
But the end result is, for all intents and purposes, identical to the end result that I would get on Adobe Premiere. And I'm getting faster with Resolve every single time I use it. And so I will probably be fully switching over to DaVinci Resolve, regardless of whether I keep Linux as a desktop or not.
Right. You're just liking it much better.
I'm liking it. There are some features in it. There are some, I talked about the transcode feature last week, where it will transcribe an audio clip inside of a video. It will lay out the timeline of when you said those words. And you you can, just based on the text, make all of your video cuts.
Wow, that's actually really good. Premiere
and it takes it takes like 20 seconds to transcribe an hour-long audio clip.
That's pretty quick too.
And so you go transcribe, and then you get a written text of every word that you said. And actually, even like the technical things, like I was saying the 1X GPU or the RX 7600 XT, or it transcribed all of those perfectly. And it's like,
cool.
All right, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So then I can just look at the script and go, oh, look, I said this line 4 times. I'm going to delete the first 3.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah. It makes like running through the clips over and over and over again much easier, because you match your text.
I don't have to watch all 4 of those clips or look at the wave graphs to figure out which one is the longest or which was the better take. I can look at the script and go like, oh, look, there I completed on a finished sentence and then didn't swear when it was done. It's a really good indicator if it's a bad take, at the end of the clip. So it took the bulk of my editing time, which was finding the right clips to put in the right order.
Yeah.
It took it from like an hour and a half down to like 30 minutes.
Oh, much nicer. Yeah.
Now, the rest of my time has been spent, how do I layer my clips and do my transitions and my multi-camera work and whatnot. That is a whole other art form that I had very refined on Premiere that has a completely different workflow on Resolve. And I've been relearning that. And my first video edit took me like 9 hours. I can't remember the last 9-hour edit that I had. Most of my edits
you're
are like
learning.
3 hours.
It's a learning experience, right?
Right. The second edit only took me 4 hours. And so with any luck, I could be down to like an hour and a half for a video edit, which is insane.
I mean, that's kind of how I like to learn new software, is I like to just go in raw and try to figure it out myself at first, because sometimes when you butt your heads into things, that's when you learn the best. And then after a while,
I went cold turkey.
Yeah, and then after I get too frustrated, then I'll go look something up and look at tutorials and stuff like that. But part of the exploration into it and just messing around with it is part of the fun, and be like, oh, that's cool,
Right.
So yeah, no, I that's like almost the exact same way. I would probably take 9 hours too if I was to like switch to something different.
Yeah. So it's been an experience, but the end result is, at the moment, I'm 95% functional. I say 95% because my OBS Stream Deck is not working with Zorin so far. OBS does not, or not OBS, Elgato does not have a Stream Deck software for Linux.
Oh, okay.
There are third-party implementations though, but the first two that I tried did not work.
Oh, okay.
And so, but if I can get that working, I'm literally at the same functionality level of the desktop I replaced, and that's insane.
That's good.
I'm talking 1-for-1 on software.
That's how far Linux has come. I mean,
yeah,
especially for professional workflow type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Novella Hub says at least you're not using Tux Paint.
Yeah, Tux Paint.
So yeah, it's been a journey. I will be doing a video on this. I will be doing a video about all of the successes and failures that I've had. There are a couple things that I'm still working through as far as a workflow thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that I've gotten to are esoteric to the point of it's me.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I use Microsoft Power Tools Fancy Zones for my OBS layout. And so when I'm doing a live show, I have a single 34-inch monitor and I have a virtual display via an HDMI dongle.
Right.
And the way I do this is Zoom goes onto its own window. See, here's my mouse. Zoom is on its own full screen monitor, which is just an HDMI dongle that I drag the Zoom window onto and then double click it.
Okay.
That's how it works. In fact, I think I have a, here, I'll show you. That doesn't actually exist. I have no second monitor here. It's an HDMI dummy dongle.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm taking it by the grace of God that monitor actually exists. Okay. As far as the rest of my layout, I have a very specific layout for my windows, and that is so I can do things like this. So I can show you a website over here. My main monitor, 34-inch ultra-wide, is split into 4 segments. There is a right segment, which is like the right third of the monitor. The center third of the monitor has OBS in the top and Discord in the bottom. And then the left of the monitor has Chrome, which is running YouTube live stream and show notes and any other like things that I need to check on at a glance. But in order for scenes like this to work, Firefox needs to be the same shape, the same size, and the same position every single time.
Right.
And so I had a fancy zone set up where I could drag Firefox over here and then press shift and then let go, and it would snap to the correct position.
To right where you needed it, yeah.
That doesn't exist on Linux.
Oh. That's too bad. So you kind of have to eyeball it every time now? Well, you've only been doing it twice, so.
It's only the second time I've done it.
Yeah.
I do have a setup, although the setup is an absolute pain in the ass. I don't have to just eyeball it. What I did was I took Pop OS's, which is another Ubuntu Debian variant OS made by System76, and I installed their Forge Window Snap utility.
Oh.
Compared to Fancy Zones, it's rudimentary at best.
Okay.
It's best guess when you're snapping things. And it doesn't remember which windows go where or how you want them oriented. And even the dragging of them. So you drag a window and it will highlight a section of the screen that it thinks you want the window to go on. So if I want Firefox on the right third quadrant, number one, I have to have 2 other windows open for it to designate that as a third. Otherwise, it'll go in quarters.
Right.
So I drag Firefox over, and instead of dragging it all the way to the edge of the window and then letting go, and it filling up, that quadrant of the screen or whatever, there will be like a red shadow that appears. And then, if you let it go, it'll fill that segment of the screen, but that segment of the screen is not part of the tiled screen, not the window snap screen that is the default in the GNOME desktop utility. You then have to take Chrome and drag it to the left side and get that red highlight to appear, and it'll snap to that side. Then you drag... Oh, and Discord doesn't like to cooperate with this. That's the other fun part, is because Discord uses its own window generation utility, renderer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Okay.
It kind of just goes wherever. It will snap, but it doesn't initiate the auto snap feature.
Right. So you have to manually adjust it afterwards.
No, so I have to grab OBS and highlight over Discord if Discord is in the center third of the window, and get it to snap so it goes to the top half. And if it goes to the top half, it'll snap it to the top center third. And that's where I have it right now. And it does work, and that's pretty much the layout that I had the old window in. I had it divided by thirds with 2 in the middle. And it works now. Like, you see the window, you see the scroll bar on the right side. Yeah, that's because this was size. Here's the edge of my window. You can see my cursor change there. Here's the edge of the window here. You can see the scroll bar. That's because my template was designed for 1/3 of an ultra-wide monitor.
So not all works out.
I made it work. It is entirely too much of a pain in the ass to get to work. It takes like 10 minutes sometimes for me to arrange my monitors. And God help me if I minimize one, because they will automatically snap to fill the voids.
See, you would think with a lot of people that do these setups and stuff like that, that there would be an application out there where you can have programs running in certain positions, and then take an application, say, okay, what do I got running right now? What are their positions? Save that, make that like a bookmark or whatever. And then when you want it set back up again, you just double click that, launches all the applications and snaps them all into place. Literally, you can have your setup up and running in like 30 seconds. I'm surprised there's nothing like that out there right now. I mean, there might be. I've never looked, but it doesn't seem like it would be that hard of a thing to code.
It doesn't seem like it would be. If anyone knows of a better one than the Forge utility for Pop! OS, that's the best one that I've found, and it's a band-aid at best, and it's horrible at worst. Because if I minimize a monitor right now, 10 minutes worth of work goes out the window, and I will not recover during the stream. So, yeah. Yeah, if anyone has any ideas.
I think someone's posting stuff in the Discord here. Organize windows and customizable snaps. G-Snap, yeah.
Bless you, sir. Organize windows and customizable snap zones like fancy zones on Windows.
There you go.
I will give that a shot literally tomorrow morning. Yeah, Pop! OS implementation makes me want to pull my hair. I've used Pop! OS for a number of years. Pop! OS is like my number 2 Linux distro when I go to do stuff with it. I've done a couple of videos on Pop! OS over the years. Famously, I took it to PDX LAN as my only operating system a couple of years ago, and ran the entire LAN on Pop! OS, and it worked fantastic. Playing every game that I wanted to play, including like Rocket League, like games that you would expect anti-cheat to be an issue. Right. Rocket League worked fantastically well. But yeah, I need a fancy zones replacement, so I will be definitely looking at G-Snap. Let's see. We've got a couple more stories to get to. Apple's lead marketer for the new Vision Pro headset retires. And this is amid rumors that Apple is also reducing orders for the number of manufactured Apple Vision Pros that they want this next quarter, because they're just not selling.
Yeah. No, I kind of thought that when I first saw the reviews and stuff, because people, they were raving about it, but they were like, well, this is neat, but it's kind of expensive for what it is. And it looked goofy, to be fair. I mean, it looked goofy. There's tons of clips of people around town, on their scooters or their bikes, wearing them, all kinds of stuff like that. But pretty soon you didn't see that too much anymore. I mean, it was when it first came out, I saw a ton of them, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore. So I just can't see this big over the head form factor being that comfortable for a long time. So I think it's just people are kind of shying away from it because it's not. I mean, I don't know.
Look, as a long time, God, I can say that now, can't I? As a long time VR evangelist, enthusiast, early adopter, the Apple Vision Pro was doomed to failure. I think I've made comments on this in the past, especially after the early augmented reality reviews started coming out, like people using it day to day. Suddenly they're plugged into it for 8 hours and they're complaining about black eyes and headaches and poor vision.
You can't wear them that long. It's just not comfortable.
No matter how good of a screen it is and how comfortable of a headset and how ergonomic, it's still 1.5 pounds of an LCD strapped to your eye.
Yeah.
There's still things which the human body goes, that's not
right. I ain't doing that.
Right. But going in, I was of two minds. I was of either, number one, this is going to fail simply from the inherent issues of the limits of the technology today.
Yeah.
But I desperately wanted the second half of my brain to succeed, going, Apple has come into these types of spaces before and introduced a new paradigm of user interface or workflow or user experience that no one's thought of before. And they've overcome the challenges that everyone has stumbled upon and just kind of left for people to deal with. Think of the music market. Think of the iPod. Think of the iPhone. Think of the tablet market. Apple has entered these spaces, which were already what we thought were fairly mature spaces, and brought about an all-new way of thinking about them and completely reinvented them. And that's what Apple is known for. When people go, Apple innovation, Apple didn't invent the smartphone, but they invented the smartphone as it exists today.
Yeah.
Palm invented the smartphone, for Christ's sake. I had a Palm Treo 650 in 2006, and I'll be damned if I let that thing go for an iPhone. But you know what? I eventually did. It took me 3.5 years, but I eventually did. And I was hoping for much of the same. I was hoping for Apple to enter this space, introduce a new level of interaction, user experience that would overcome the limitations of the technology, which the limitations are still there. You've still got a battery. You've got a headset that is too heavy already to have its own internal battery, so you have to wear a hip pack. That's not great. While the display itself is the most vivid, the widest angle of any VR or AR display that has ever existed, it is still an all-encompassing display. It is not a live heads-up. It is not a live heads-up view. It is still a stereoscopic representation via a series of cameras of what exists around you. And not everyone's eyes work on a one-to-one basis. Your eyes capture a different field of view from my eyes. So the cameras emulating a static field of view are going to be different than the field of view your eyes are used to. And while your brain is great at adjusting, it also has its limits, especially when it comes to stereoscopy, when it comes to how close is that microphone from my face.
Depth perception and all that kind of stuff,
Right. And so there are inherent limits. I was very, very hopeful that this might introduce something cool. And while it did introduce something cool, it's also $3,500. You can get a Quest 2 for $300.
I know.
Is the Quest 2 as good of a display as the app? No, it's not. But you know what? I can play games on the Quest 2. I can visit the hub on the Quest 2. That's not
Yeah.
blocked.
So yeah,
Just
no,
saying.
these are very, very similar thoughts I had when it first came out. It's like, okay, this is not, because the price point's really high. It's not going to be well adopted. There's going to be some, big fanboys at first getting it, but it's just like it did. It kind of fell off the radar.
Yep.
No one talks about it anymore.
Yep.
I mean, as far as like, AR, augmented reality type of stuff, I'm more akin to the design that Google had with Google Glass, because it's a lot more lightweight. Maybe they were trying to do AR plus VR with this Apple thing, but for like a completely everyday wearable lightweight type of device, you're going to need to have something like glasses, like you wear your glasses every day. And I know, because I wear contacts and I also wear glasses, but you eventually get used to it, right? It's just there with your glasses. So if you want something that people are going to use in an everyday basis, it has to be as lightweight as a pair of glasses, maybe a little bit heavier, but whatnot. But it has to be that.
Yeah.
And then it'd just be for AR, not VR, because
Right.
it'd be too heavy. You can't have cameras like that. So,
I have been a huge proponent of augmented reality glasses for enhanced computing.
Yeah.
Sometimes all that is a monitor replacement. Sometimes all that is I want a bigger screen in my field of view,
right,
instead of staring at a laptop.
Yeah.
Or I want to plug a set of glasses into a handheld gaming PC, Steam Deck, or
right,
anything else, and game on that, because I want a 100-inch screen instead of a 6-inch screen.
Well, and not only that, most handheld gaming, you have to go like this and look at it. Your neck,
right?
Eventually, you have glasses like that, then you're like this. You're saving your neck there.
I pat myself on the back very regularly that I showed XReal a 50% increase in their market share simply by going, plug this into a gaming handheld and let them play games.
Yeah.
Market around that. So I haven't told this story. I reached out to XReal and Rockid and a couple other Epson for their Maverios, because I wanted to do a piece on an augmented reality headset connected to a gaming handheld, specifically around the Steam Deck, when the Steam Deck was really hot. And I said, I have this idea. Your device supports DisplayPort Alt Mode over USB-C. All of these gaming handhelds support this. I want to show off this as a feature. Can you send me a demo unit? And all of them either ghosted me or said no. So I got online and I bought an XReal, or an Nreal at the time, an Nreal Air. When I bought the Nreal Airs, they were only available in China and Japan. I had to import one via eBay, and I spent like a 40% premium to do it.
Yeah.
Simply because I felt strongly enough, this is a use case that everyone's ignoring.
Yeah.
I got them in, I made a video, it got 100,000 views. Not viral by any means, but it got 100,000 views, and it got their attention.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been waiting for a set of glasses like this for a decade. Here's the decade of devices I've collected, from the Zeiss Cinemizer to the Epson AV30s to the, I have a lot of head-mounted displays because I'm a VR and AR enthusiast. I've even got some of the, oh gosh, what are they? They were the headphones that would also flip down and make you the guy from Cloud City.
I remember those. Those are old. Yeah.
Yeah. That had DLP projectors that shot into your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brightest displays I've ever seen, but oh my god, retina searing at the same time. I have some of those. Like, I had every set of AR glasses you could ever want. And the Nreal Airs came out, and I went, that's perfect if they live up to their hype. And they lived up to their hype. And they supported USB-C DisplayPort Alt Mode. And they plugged in it to a Steam Deck, and my Steam Deck display showed up in like a 200-inch image. And it's like, oh my god, this is it.
Yeah.
Xreal has bought 2 sponsored videos from me, that they did one sponsored showcase and then another where they flew me to San Jose to interview their CEO. And I should be on the first to receive some of their pro glasses when they debut, which I don't know if it's public knowledge or not, but I also haven't signed an NDA.
Right.
Support 6 Degree of Freedom and potentially Steam VR.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Right?
That's really cool.
In a set of glasses. In a set of...
I know. Something lightweight glasses like that. That's going to be awesome.
6 Degree of Freedom. Full inside-out tracking.
Man. And is that in the R&D department right now? In their summer. Oh, so summer. So it's getting close.
Summer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm an enthusiast. I was hoping Apple would further the industry.
Yeah.
They showed a really cool tech demo, but stopped short of a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And that hurts. I was rooting for these. I really wanted these to succeed. I'm not some anti-Apple homer.
Well, not only that, I mean, it also creates a competition from the other, big players in the market. They're going to try harder too. And if they see this, well, if Apple, who's, known for their innovations and stuff like that, can't innovate in this space, why do we want to try? Why do we want to break out into that? So yeah, I don't know. It's one of their rare flops, I should say.
So Michael says, when will Craft Computing have the Geordie visor?
You do have a Geordie visor.
I do have a Geordie visor.
Yeah.
I have a nearly 100% screen accurate Geordie's visor that I 3D printed to be 100% to be scaled to my head, to fiction frit, like the one in the show was to LeVar Burton's head. Mine is 3D printed but sanded smooth and then resin finished, and then sanded again and then coated with aluminized paint and then a lacquer clear coat. And then the bars are actually individually cut brass bars.
Yeah.
So I said, I own Geordie's visor. It's not a large enough field of view to be a relevant form factor.
Yeah.
The problem is they're only this thick.
Yeah, they're very,
when
very
you put
tiny.
them in front of your eyes like that, I can see both of my fingers.
Yeah.
Which means it's not my full field of view. That form factor does not lend itself to your eyes' field of view. I need to get... Bigger. I can still see the tops and bottoms of my fingers, even here when they're touching my face. I can see my glass frames if I look at them. That's not a big enough field of view to be 100%. It's 85%, but it's not 100%. But if we could get to this, if we could get to where I'm aware of the edges, but I don't care about them, that's a field of view to be happy about. And then Novella Hub chimes in. He has Geordie's visor, but it also makes him blind.
Yeah.
I love putting on that visor and going, I can't see right now.
Yeah.
Chris says Nintendo Virtual Boy was the first. On a side note, has anyone else tried the new... Gosh, what is the name of it?
I don't think Virtual Boy was the first.
Virtual Boy was not the first.
No.
VR headset.
No, I remember some early VR headsets.
96? 95,
around that time?
maybe?
Okay, it was about the time the movie Lawnmower Man came out. You remember Lawnmower Man?
Yes.
It was about the same time that came out.
A friend of mine had a VR headset. I want to say this was
92.
Yeah,
So
Lawnmower Man was 92.
So maybe 93, 94.
I'm thinking consumer available. I'm thinking...
These were consumer... They were extremely expensive. Because I went to Fry's
I'm thinking purchasable by a well-off teenager.
Okay.
I'm thinking like 96, maybe 97. I had a friend who had one of the 640 by 480 CRT based VR headsets with the infrared tracking that ran at like 22 hertz on the displays, 640 by 480 internal.
Right.
I played Descent 2 on that.
Oh wow. And you didn't throw up?
In like
the Descent 2 by itself, just on a monitor.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But it worked in Descent 2. I swallowed my lunch to be in that ship, okay? Yeah. That was my I think I had VR and AR experience for the first time the same year. Because the same year I also went up to Seattle to the Science Museum. There at the base of the Space Needle.
Yeah.
And there was an exhibitor that was showing off augmented reality in a basketball simulator. And what they would do was they would give you a retro reflector glove. And then you would stand with a camera facing you like this. Okay? And you have a full top to bottom shot of you, and you're standing against a green screen. But you can look up on a monitor, and your person is being projected onto a basketball court, standing profile to the basketball court. And you can reach forward with your retroreflective glove, and you can grab a basketball. You could dribble the basketball, and you could shoot the basketball, on the video screen.
That's cool.
So you're playing basketball in VR in third person. I got to experience both of those, like right around 96, maybe 97. And those were both wild. Like, I'm like, boy, by 2001, this is the future we're going to be living, right?
No.
And at least one of those has happened. You know, we have the VR thing, which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, AR never really took off. Nor will AR take off until it's seamless. It has to be seamless.
It has to be seamless, yeah.
And that's the thing I think every single company in this space is missing. It has to augment what is already there. That was one of my biggest takeaways this last year. I went to Augmented World Expo, AWE, in San Jose this last July. And lot of cool tech, a lot of cool ideas. The problem is everyone wanted to go, this is this technology brought to you by X brand, and let's make sure you're always aware that you're wearing this headset, and let's deliver ads, and let's do this, and let's fill your vision with all these other things. What I want is what I got from Google Glass in like 2014.
Yeah.
Which was a superimposed 3D map giving me GPS directions while I'm driving that I don't have to take my eyes off the road to see. Augment.
Yes.
Enhance. Not replace.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. Oh, the headset I was thinking is called CyberMax. It was CyberMax. That was the one. It came out 94, so 1 year before Virtual Boy. And it was
very similar.
Yeah. It retailed for like $900, $700, $900.
Yeah. Very similar. Might be the same headset. Yeah. Had an infrared tracker on it. At least the version that I had an infrared tracker.
I don't know if this one did or not.
Yeah. So it did 3 degrees of freedom. So you could rotate your head in Descent 2. And I played Descent 2 at like 22 FPS. So all of you say, I get motion sick at anything less than 75.
60, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, 22 is sick.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Motion sickness.
So disorienting to begin with. Oh my God.
One of my favorite things when we went to PAX, remember when I talked to the original developers of Descent and they were showing off Overload?
Yeah.
I sat down and I just started going nuts with the controller, and they go, You've played this before, haven't you?
No, I've just played Descent before. I played a shit ton
No,
of
I had
Descents.
Descent and I played it on keyboard and I could make
Yeah,
it sing.
yeah.
I remember playing Descent the way Tom Paris piloted a shuttlecraft. Like that's about how I like.
Yeah.
All you've got is like the LCARS controls, and
It's too.
that's how I
Yeah,
ran Descent. I had a full keyboard layout where I both hands on the keyboard, all 10 fingers active.
yeah.
Yep. Y'all are spoiled with mouse and joysticks.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think by Descent 2, they had mouse movement with Descent, I believe.
Yes.
Or maybe it was Descent 3. I can't remember.
No, Descent 1 even had mouse movement.
Did it?
I know they had joystick. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Descent 1 and 2 ran on the same engine.
Okay.
And so if Descent 2 had it, Descent 1 probably had it. But I always played on keyboard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like with Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, I did the same thing too. Because I mean, it was you're playing on a 2D plane, so it didn't really matter. But with Descent,
right.
you got 360 degrees of motion, and holding down the key to spin, it made more sense to use the mouse at that point because you could spin faster. But man, you would just get like, you just don't know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah. See, I had the full number pad on my right hand, and I had WASD on my left hand.
Yeah.
And so I don't even remember how I mapped it, but it was forward and back, and then I think it was turn. And then I had pitch up, pitch down, and then rotate. So I would actually rotate fly when I was doing it. So you're not turning, you're not yawing. Yeah. You are rotating and then turning a plane.
Right.
Is how I would fly it. So yeah. So yeah, when I sat down and I got complimented on my controls style by the original Descent devs, I'm like,
yeah,
thank you. One more story to get to. Again, this one wasn't in the notes.
Okay.
But EK Waterblocks has been in the news for the last couple of days. And I've worked with EK. Look, I don't have a lot to add to this conversation. I'm not going to be breaking any new ground here, but I figured because I had a working relationship with EK Waterblocks at some point in time, I should probably at least make a comment. And obviously, Gamers Nexus broke a story which has since been corroborated by Jesus Sense, Der Bauer, and a number of other media outlets about internal strife. Like, I never hold individual comments accountable to an entire company because Walmart hires all kinds of idiots. And one Walmart employee's comments are not the comments of the company. Like, I fully understand that as much as people want to hate on Walmart. At the same time, when this all comes in addition to hostile work environment allegations and withholding overtime pay, not paying contractors and not paying vendors and not paying all kinds of things. This goes into the weeds a bit. Look, all of my interactions with EK have been entirely positive. Overall, I've done a couple projects with them. I've done a couple sponsored videos with them. And they've always been great to work with. I've known Eddie for a number of years now. I've known Kat for a number of years now. They are some great people to work with. At least the media side face that I get to see.
Right.
I've not really ever been a direct customer of EK Waterblocks outside of a couple of products, and I've never had a problem, so I've never interacted with them as a customer. Outside of, here's my money, send me some parts. Cool, done.
Yeah.
These allegations are serious, and these allegations need to be treated justly. And there was a press release by Eddie this last week, or literally yesterday, that said we're taking these seriously, and we already began in February of literally top to bottom company changes. Yeah. And a lot of that is to do with profitability. Here's my Hashtag not investment advice. Hashtag no investment, no working relationship with EK Water Blocks currently. Outsider looking in. What went wrong? EK Water Blocks, niche boutique company that saw a lot of success in the 2010s.
Yeah.
Throughout the 2010s, EK Water Blocks made CPU water blocks and GPU water blocks. But because water cooling was and still is a very niche product.
Yeah. Even within a niche genre,
they made
of,
water cooling products
yeah.
for the 80% of their 2%. That is 2% of people probably do custom loops.
Yeah.
So they made products for the 80% of that 2%. That is, we're going to make a water block, but it's going to go on a founder's card. We're going to make a CPU block, but it's going to be a generic CPU block outside of the 1 or 3 mono block solutions that we make for extreme overclockers once a year. We're going to make generic fitting components to fit 90 or 80% of use cases, and they're going to be high quality. And that's what they did. And they were very successful at that. Starting around 2018, there started to be a lot more demand for custom water blocks. That is, water blocks designed for graphics cards from custom AIBs. So your Asus, your Zotac AMP Extremes, your EVGAs, your your ROGs, your all these kinds of things. So EK took that as an opportunity to expand to the rest of the water cooling market and say, we're going to start making cards or start making water blocks for these individual custom designed AIB cards. And it worked great for a couple of years. They also started doing a number of monoblocks for a number of different motherboards. They would engineer monoblocks for motherboards. They'd have like 15 of them. Yeah. 15 different designs for different motherboards that you could buy a monoblock for. I purchased a monoblock from EK Water Blocks that I never ended up using for an X570 Phantom Gaming 4 from ASRock. I just never got around to the water cooling project. I fully intended to, so I have a monoblock for a Phantom Gaming 4 X570. Maybe I'll eventually put it to use. I don't know yet, though. Anyway, 2019 hits, so they've been doing these custom cards for about a year and a half. And the first mining craze hits. And graphics cards are unobtainable.
Yeah.
Now EK is forced, or is in a situation where they make a whole bunch of products, and their customer base has dried up.
Because no one can afford the cards, yeah.
No one can afford cards. And the cards that are out there are random in their distribution. As far as which card it is, and which enthusiast happens to buy it, and which enthusiast happens to want to water cool that card. And so 2019, probably a difficult year for EK. 2020, the mining craze loosened up. 2020, 2021, pretty easy to beat EK water blocks again. 2022, mining craze 2 electric boogaloo hits. And every graphics card is completely unobtainable. However, you have created a customer base over the last 6 years that expects you to make custom water blocks for every graphics card on the market. At least every 70 series and up.
Right.
Graphics card on the market. How many of which block do you buy? Where do you put your manufacturing resources?
Yeah, you don't know.
Where do you put your development resources?
Yeah, exactly.
Water cooling has always been a niche product. It's always been an enthusiast product. What happens when inflation starts getting the better of everyone? What happens when corporate product or profit margins take precedent over affordability of rent, as we've seen over the last couple of years? Those luxury purchases start drying up, don't they? Oh, add in the unpredictability of the user base of EK's customer base based on the unavailability of graphics cards. Which graphics card is going to be available, and which of those customers wants to buy a graphics card for which specific model? That's a problem.
Who knows? Yeah.
Not surprisingly, 2023 was a brutal year for EK water blocks. I don't have financial numbers in front of me. I'm just assuming that based on the fact that they're not paying contractors and temp workers and internal tempers are at an all-time high, and there's internal hostile work environment allegations. 2023, probably not a great year.
Yeah, and it was also interesting because we normally saw EK water blocks when we went to PDX Land, and we did not see them this last time.
They were not there this spring.
They were not there this year.
They still sponsored the event, but they did not have a presence there. They didn't have a booth. They didn't have any representation there. I'm not letting EK off the hook. I'm simply trying to give an explainer. Again, from an outsider looking in with no current monetary interest in EK water blocks. Last couple of years have been difficult. They've been difficult for a lot of people and a lot of companies for a lot of different reasons. And unfortunately, EK kind of bore the brunt of two of those reasons: unavailability of products and unaffordability of your niche. 2023, bad year.
Yeah.
2024, people start talking. That's where we find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I hope EK recovers. Why? Because the industry's better with a good EK. EK for over a decade was the predominant water block supplier. Yeah, we had SwiftTech. Yeah, we had AlphaCool. We had a couple other, companies here and there. Baiski's been making some good noise out of the East. But at the same time, EK was they were the pedigree that everyone chased. And not only have there been allegations of mistreatment of employees, there's been allegations of horrendous quality control issues. Der Bauer talked about this in his video, where he said upwards of an 11% ticket rate for fitment issues on a direct dye water cooler that he co-sponsored and co-developed with EK water blocks. That's not a good margin.
That's not a good 11% is pretty high.
Consumer electronics companies in general aim for 1%. Yeah. I aim for a sub 5% breakage in chip. I aim for a 1% breakage, and so far I've been hitting about a 1% breakage, where we have had some boxes absolutely mangled in shipping from craftcomputing.store, and still 90% of the merchandise in that box makes it to its destination successfully. This last week, I had my first day that I operated at a loss, where I had 2 complaints come in, where I had 2 completely and utterly destroyed and mangled boxes be successfully delivered with all the products inside of them, and 1 damaged product inside of each. And I had that day that I didn't receive any orders, so I had to fulfill 2 orders on replacement. And you know what? I happily did it. But
I mean, those shipping accidents, they're not your fault. I mean,
they're not.
This is like,
Nor do I pay for insurance, because that's a racket at this scale. Even at my scale, shipping insurance is a racket.
Ridiculous, yeah.
But EK water blocks, we are better with a good EK water blocks. Competition brings better products and better overall prices to everyone.
Yeah.
It pushes the industry forward. If EK water blocks fold, we have SwiftTech, we have AlphaCool, and we have Baiski. I'd rather EK also be there.
Yeah.
I don't wish any ill will against EK. I'm glad that they are taking this head on. I'm glad that their CEO, number 1, was reappointed in February to help right the ship. Probably to do a lot of the same Steve Jobs treatments of Apple in 1997, where he goes, "Why are you selling 700 SKUs? Here's the 6 SKUs you do well. Sell these 6, and then we'll talk about a 7th.
Yeah.
That's what EK water blocks needs right now. They need to refocus on their core 80% of the market that they held for so many years. And I hope they do. And I hope they rebound. And I wish nothing but good fortune for them. Yeah, because no employee, no business owner deserves to be ran through the racket for being cash poor. Cash poor happens. And I hope they come out of the other end better and stronger.
Oh, yeah.
And there's my take.
And rant. Well, it wasn't even much of a rant. It was just an explanation.
It was, from an outsider's perspective, here's where I see this controversy.
Yeah.
It's not much of a controversy. It's a company struggling in a niche market.
Right.
Because of increased prices and lower availability of products that they rely on to sell their own products.
Right.
And they got hit with a double whammy at the same time. And yeah, they're probably not doing well right now. I can't imagine EK Waterblocks doing well after 2023 that we saw in the PC consumer space.
Yeah.
What do? We sell super expensive custom water blocks to the 1% of users who want to water cool their systems.
Right.
Good luck with that.
No, yeah, you're right. They're a niche market within a niche market. It's I mean, it's amazing that you can build a business off that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, dang, and they're not the only person in the game either. I mean, there's like you said, there's others. So the fact that they can, and I hope that they succeed and they come out of this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have any ill will.
No.
This isn't a hit piece, but the industry is better with them performing at their best, just like every other industry and every other company. Except SolarWinds. Screw SolarWinds. And Broadcom. Screw Broadcom.
Broadcom and SolarWinds.
Anyway. It's a good beer.
I know. I finished my look at that's the contrast between the IPA and the Big Bad Baptista. I was slowly sipping on that IPA. That wasn't that great, but this Big Bad Baptista, man, that was the money. This was
you know what's
really
great about
good.
A 750? I had a pint, but what about second pint?
That's right. I kind of miss the predominance of the 22-ounce bomber for beer, and everything's 16-ounce now. You almost never see.
This is a 750.
See, yeah, 750 milliliter, yeah.
It's a big old beer. Yeah. 750 milliliter.
Yeah. That's 25.
This is a big old beer.
25 ounces.
Yeah.
That's like a wine bottle's worth of beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll be sipping on that for a while.
My wife was looking for a drink last night, and one of her favorite is from Schilling Ciders.
Yes.
Schilling Cidery.
Yes.
It is actually, you saw at PDX Land. I bought.
We picked a bunch up. Yeah.
12.
12 of them. Yeah. Like my wife likes it. She's gonna like this. She's gonna like this when she comes.
It is a Moscow Mule inspired cider. It's a ginger apple cider, and it's amazing. Since we got back from PDX Land, that 12 pack is gone.
Gone already.
I spent $60 on 12 cans. It is gone. So she was looking for a drink last night, and she goes, "Oh, maybe I'll open this. What is this? Bottle of sparkling cider or sparkling wine?" And oh yeah, that's a bottle of champagne. It's from like 2018. Like we've had that a while. And she goes, "Oh, I might as well open it." And I went, "What are you gonna do with it?" And she goes, "I don't know." I said, "Are you gonna drink it straight?" She goes, "No, I was looking at mixing with like cranberry juice or something, or peach, do a little Bellini or something."
Bellini or something, yeah,
like,
mimosa or something.
It's a 750 ml bottle. Are you gonna drink a bottle of champagne tonight? Because I'm not.
Yeah.
It was an 18.5% too.
I know. That's the well, I'll do
I'm like, "Honey, I love you, but you're not downing an 18.5 750 tonight."
Yeah, there's no way I can do like a bottle of wine by myself. We usually split a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And even then there's like a glass or two left over depending on how good it is. If it's good, then yeah, I'll like maybe I'll finish it off. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, it is 15 past the hour. I think that is a show.
That is a show. We made it.
Thank you all so much for watching. Episode 331 here on Craft Computing. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Check out the links to the Patreon if you want to help support the channel and get access to our exclusive Discord server where you can join and talk with us every night, every week. We're always online. We've talked about this a lot. Basically, 3 to 6 a.m. is the only dead zone for a West Coast host.
Yeah, that's right.
One of us is awake. We also do an after party immediately following the show. Join us live voice chat, video chat, immediately following every episode of Talking Heads. Craftcomputing.store. Pick yourself up a nucleated pint glass, a beer installation disc coaster, all of which are designed and made in-house by me. Also, represent. Be a bad mother flipper. Get yourself a wallet. That's going to do it for me in this one. Steve, anything good of the order before we...
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, come join the after party. Watch me finish the IPA, choke it down, I guess. If you guys want to do that, it'll be fun. We'll see you guys afterwards.
Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, guys.